Chapter 54 to 56. Feel it in your chest area. Do you feel that hidden tremendous power? Push it towards the top of your spine. Let it invigorate it within, and once you feel like it is at the limit, let it burst and become a Super Saiyan. Jia! The air around Bulla started to become so intense that you can see the air change in pressure. Her hair started to flow wildly, defying gravity as per the norm. Her long blue locks that have been maintained even in the simple lifestyle inside of the chamber. Those long blue locks that she tried so hard to keep the same started to flash in and out of blonde. She felt her S-cells accumulating on the top of her spine. There were so many that she felt like her back was about to explode from the pressure, but then she felt it. She didn't know what was the indicator. It was something within her. One last push, and the S-cells burst from their bubble, becoming active and circulating around her body, giving her new strength. Her hair and eyes changed colors in addition to her newfound transformation. Looking over to her left, her dad and Gohan, who was already a Super Saiyan, achieving it the day before, were looking at her with satisfaction and pride respectively. Good job, Bulla. Both you and Gohan have achieved Super Saiyan at the age of 8. Although getting it 2 years before the intended time may not seem like a long time, but it really is a testament to how much stronger they are to get it so young. Bulla went up to a mirror that resided in the chamber and started to inspect herself with blonde hair. Twirling around to catch all the angles, she was quite enamored with the new look. Maybe I could ask Mom if I could dye my hair permanently. No, she would kill me. Maybe highlights. Enough of that, Bulla. We are going to use the last month of this year for you too, to get used to your Super Saiyan forms, until you feel as if it is part of your body. But Dad, why didn't you do this? I never see you as a Super Saiyan. That's because I already did it in Yardrat. Oh Dad, I have a question. These kids have too many questions. Go for Gohan. I always wondered, why are we unlocking the Super Saiyan form first? This form is 5x times more powerful than the ape form, but we haven't unlocked it yet. Yeah, this form is better. Why should we unlock the ape form if we have this form? That's a great question, actually. Transforming mainly has to do with how powerful you are, and therefore a direct relationship with S-cells. Have enough of those and any Saiyan can become a Super Saiyan. The ape form, however, goes against the true nature of modern Saiyans. The further you are a modern Saiyan, the further you will be to achieve the ape form. As you noticed, you too already calmed your Oozuru, and almost reached the form while Vegeta can control it, but can barely calm himself. As to why you should strive to unlock it, it has many more uses than meets the eye. After that little lesson, they got back to training their newly acquired forms. Of course, Bulla was a little distracted thinking if she would still look cute even in her ape form. Why you? It can't be you. You are supposed to be dead. Back at the scene where Android 20 was faced off with a horde of androids, he was stuttering as if he could not believe for a second what was before his eyes. Oh husband, show a little more compassion, would you? Oh wait, should I even call you that? You are just a metal doll that looks and acts like him. I guess Android 20 would be more aptly suit. Long brown hair, with large strands of it curling like a tree. There was one strand right between her eyes that she brushed away to reveal grayish-blue eyes underneath her glasses. With an arrogant posture to go along with her lab coat and simple shirt, she had a wild and fiery temperament surrounding her. Enough with the love affair 21. You promised us when you released us that you would let us destroy this old fart. 18 was getting impatient and was ready to pounce at her prey. Wait a minute, 18. I also want a piece of the action. 17 and 18 gave the vibe opposite of 21, even though they were both androids. Frosty auras eluded from their skin, piercing anyone who comes close. Meanwhile, 16 was looking at the scenery in the back with no emotion. All this stalling allowed the Saiyans to catch up, and they heard most of the conversation that has already taken place. An enemy of my enemy is my friend? Not always. They may just be a bigger enemy. Why you still haven't told me how you are alive? You also released my other androids, and what is that green monstrosity? Oh my, you don't even recognize your own creation? This is Cell. Cell in his perfect form. Preposterous. Cell is still in an egg at an underground facility. And perfect? Don't make me laugh. He needs to absorb 17 and 18 to become perfect. 17 and 18 looked at 21 for an explanation, and she did not just come up with one, but several. Did you think that I died? What happened? I survived and managed to rebuild myself into an android, losing my memories as a consequence. What I do remember of you, however, is your lack of intellect compared to the top minds like Briefs. Just one look at your schematics, I was able to fully redo Cell in a way that he would absorb more power than normal from living beings, and when met with a certain threshold, is able to increase his form. I even made 17 and 18 stronger before releasing them from their prison. 18 and 17 seemed satisfied with that response, while Android 20 had a look of shame and unadulterated horror. Backed up against a rock and a hard place, he did the only thing he could think of. The energy that he stole from Vegeta started to swell inside of his body. He was going to go out with a bang. A big bang. That was what he thought until his head was separated from his body. The same thing happened to his torso as his 3 body segments started to fall down to the ground. 17 and 18 looked at the drive in disgust. Finished with what they wanted, they were actually quite lost. They didn't plan this far and decided to stick around to see the confrontation of the 2 parties. You two are who Kakarot told us about that kidnapped people everywhere. Where are they, and what did you do to them? Heh, those humans? They were nice food for my belly is all. Cell laughed, feeling more and more conceited in his perfect form. I have a special ability to turn people into food. However, if they are weak enough, I could manipulate the technique to turn them into basically anything I want as long as it isn't too extreme. We hold the people captive as objects, so they can continuously give us their ki. One time, a girl infiltrated our base to rescue the people that we have captive. Unfortunately, I needed a more comfortable pair of panties. So the people are still alive, Caulifla whispered to herself. She was excited to tell Goku the good news, but she had to get out of his situation first. Vegeta, was it? The Prince of Science? What a measly fellow. I, who have the cells of all the most powerful fighters on Earth, will be the true ruler of this universe. What was that? Vegeta, being the hothead, he didn't take that insult lightly. It's not like he could let them escape anyways after such a bold claim. Using ki on his feet for extra speed, he initiated the fight against Cell. He started with a full vertical rotation to kick Cell's neck. He landed it, so he kept on going. Rotating horizontally this time, another kick lashed out to connect with Cell's cheek. A rain of punches followed to bring up dirt from the floor they were standing on. Something was strange and he knew it, but the easiness and euphoria from the simple battle made him overlook it. He soon understood why when Cell appeared unharmed when the dust settled. An impact on his left cheek came out of nowhere and Vegeta got launched into a mountain next to where 17 and 18 were observing the match. That is the best you got. I bet Son Goku will be no different. After I absorb him, I will absorb the rest on this planet and travel the stars. Did you say absorb Goku? Like I will let you. Let's go, Kale. Let's beat this bozo out of commission. Sure thing, sis. What did they expect? That teaming together was going to make them have a chance against this booger? Vegeta was out of commission in the first interaction. 2 girls who couldn't even go Super Saiyan. It was like watching a cat beat up a lion. This is a waste of time, but let's let Cell have his fun. Android 16, find and seek Son Goku. If you cannot kill him, lure him to me and I will finish him off. Last I know, he was headed to Kami's lookout. Android 16's head swiveled like an owl to look at Android 21. We are still planning to eliminate Son Goku? You took that programming away from my brain, so I have no desire to do so. What? Of course, we are still going to kill Son Goku. He is the leading figure that will stop our reign of power and will ultimately destroy us if we leave him alone. But if we talk dash, you won't disobey your mother, right? Just looking at her face made a sweat drop from Android 16's head. He understood what he needed to do and took off towards Kami's lookout. Weak. Is this the best you got? What has Son Goku been teaching you? Maybe keeping you alive will be more fun. You both are fine pieces of meat. All their punches were missing and others were blocked by his tail with minimal effort. With the disgusting look on his face, he looked like he enjoyed seeing the girl's utter fail. However, Their faces and expressions didn't look deterred. And Cell didn't like that. He liked fear. With just one kick, Cell sent massive pain waves throughout Kale's thigh, reverberating into her body. He then grabbed her arm and threw her as hard as he can into a nearby rock pillar, dislocating her arm in the process. Caulifla looked at this unfold, while a slimy green tail was wrapped around her waist. Tears swelling up from her eyes, she desperately started to punch and push the tail to help out her lifelong friend. Her sister. The helplessness in her erupted, and she became more and more frantic with her movements that just added fuel to the fire. This was the expression he wanted. Oh, how glorious it is! That was the spark that lit her flame. Her hair started to change from black to blonde continuously, while her power slowly increased. She could feel it. With one last burst, Cell's tail could not withstand the peak of her ki exploding and was severed. Standing there, breathing in and out deeply, her eyes were too focused with resentment to really stop and understand what happened. Then it dawned on her, the first female Super Saiyan. She smirked and felt infinitely more confident to beat down the person in front of her. Cell also had an interesting expression, the expression of joy and pleasure coursing through his face. The exploded tail started to regenerate itself at a rapid pace. Yes, the further you climb, the further you fall. And I can't wait to push you off myself. All right, tomorrow is the final day of the year. Remember, only one day will pass out in the real world. Finally, I get to see Mom and the aunties. Spending a year with you boys have really done a number on my patience. Oh, please. Do you know how annoying it is when you try to redo your hair every time it messes up for some reason? Gohan and Bulla were bickering again. How did they come out like this? Reasonable thought, considering they were playing and glued to each other's hips before. What was surprising was although they did this all the time, they still are together most of the time playing around. Maybe it was just something they do. A phase maybe. One of those infamous phases, but this time before becoming teens? Maybe. Although you haven't reached perfect Super Saiyan and still have the incomplete Super Saiyan, as long as you keep working on it, you will get it in no time. For now, you can untransform, and when we get back to the house can rest. I will call the school to tell you that you will be absent Monday. Thanks, Dad. And with that, after a quick shower and dinner, they passed out like candle lights on their bunk bed. Phew, what a year. A little more boring than I thought, but at least I was able to work on transforming into Super Saiyan 2 a little bit more. I wonder what the girls are doing. I know what I am going to do after a year of celibacy. She didn't know why she didn't see this coming. But even if she saw the visible increase in her power and the more strain it was putting on Cell, she couldn't keep the horror in her heart on how massive this abomination's power was. Lasting a longer than Vegeta, maybe it was the adrenaline of transforming, but she couldn't keep up the pace that Cell was dishing out. What do you want to do after this 17? Stick with 21 with her crazy plans, or go off somewhere else? I don't know, but I really do want to drive a car. What are some good brands? Maybe just steal a couple and see which one I like the best. You moron, you are basically a car with how one-tracked you are. Still sitting on the cliff, watching the fight unfold below them with a complete lack of emotion. Although they sensed key signatures behind them, they were of such a little amount that they ignored them. Hey, who are you guys? Whoa, is that Vegeta laying on the ground? Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha landed on the rock that the two siblings were on. Krillin gave Yamcha the senzu bean bag, and he rushed over to Vegeta to give it to him. Unfortunately, Kale was buried deep within the rock pillar for her to be noticed easily with such a bigger distraction on hand. Android 18 heard a voice behind her and decided to turn around and see who approached them. There, she saw a bald midget who was giving orders to a taller man with short hair. Maybe it was the dominant way he talked or the submissive way the other took it that made her take a liking to him. She slowly walked up to the man when the other left and planted a kiss on his cheek while he wasn't looking. He jumped in shock after a wet spot appeared on his cheek, and he frantically wiped it away without knowing what happened. "You're cute, little one." Krillin looked up and saw this sexy blonde with short hair that complemented her piercing blue eyes. He saw the rest of her body in his peripherals and did everything in his willpower not to look. "I don't know who you are, lady, but I have a girlfriend." A pity. With that sentence, She didn't care enough anymore and resumed her watching of the fight like it was a sport. What just happened? I'm not quite sure myself, but you seem like quite the ladies' man. I am so dense that I didn't realize that Launch was flirting with me until she told me. I guess one of the things contributing to your success is that you should probably get something tighter so it won't be as noticeable. Vegeta woke up sweating like he had a nightmare. Not far from the truth. To be out for the count on just one swing was an embarrassment for the prince. His eyes locked on with Cell and how he was fighting Caulifla. He became even madder that a woman had reached Super Saiyan and was lasting longer than him. Such a thing never has happened to him, at least from his account. No matter how much he wanted to hop on and also swing at Cell, his pride wouldn't allow double teaming on an opponent no matter how much he hated him. Caulifla, however, threw away most of her pride long ago when she couldn't move and was having the time of her life. Vegeta, you are awake. Come and help me here. I would never fight alongside you. Have you forgotten your Saiyan pride? You do know that I know tights and everything about your relationship, right? Let me call her after this and see how much she likes your pride. To be a successful woman, you need to know how to control pieces to get what you want. Such a fragile man, ego-wise, didn't want to feel the wrath of another female, especially one that had his baby in her stomach. Joining in on the fight, Android 21 was getting quite bored at this point and yawned at the fight that lasted way too long. You Science are getting up like flies? It was those Senzu beans, was it? Cell, stop playing around. They can't use them, and keep this fight going if they are dead. Get ordered around like the dog you are, Cell. All-powerful? Are you powerful enough to bite the leash that is around your neck? You aren't. Vegeta spoke his trash talk as usual. Cell agreed that this has gone on for too long. Vegeta and Caulifla tagged the team well, considering they were in the same squad before. But Cell was just too powerful. Taking out the annoying one first, Get hammered down his fist straight through Vegeta's hair and shook his brain. That impact instantly made him dizzy until he passed out on the ground. Caulifla got a punch right on the gut, making her pupils disappear, turning her eyes completely white. Can't ruin that pretty face. I want to have fun with you so bad, but I will kill Son Goku first. Android 16 is too soft and weak to do it. But the real reason is that I want to see your despair as you watch. Ha ha ha. Mission complete, 1 to go. Ominous Ki was behind him, growing in power. It was huge, only going up rapidly. There was something about it, wild and uncontrollable. That spot where it is coming from was where the rock pillar Kale was embedded. Cell could see One Eye wanting to kill him coming from the rock through a little hole.
Boom.
Inside the rock pillar, there was a sound of an explosion going off.
Boom.
Cracks spread everywhere with dirt scattering about. Everyone, even the androids, stood up in anticipation.
Boom.
Another hit the cast like a shockwave. The area was silent afterward. No sound, no movement. Even the wind was too scared to awaken the beast. Well, it was too late. The beast has arrived. A muscular arm shot out from the rock pillar as if it was seeking air. On its hand, it crushed the rocks that were in its way and scattered them about in the air. After that, the rock pillar couldn't contain the monster anymore and broke into pieces, revealing what was underneath. Doubled in size, Kale had the muscles of a Greek god. Chiseled from head to toe, her pupils were yellow and were sporadically looking around the environment. When she spotted the downed Caulifla, bruises, cuts, and dirt coating her skin, the look of rage was comparable to a wild bull. Her hair was black as usual, however. The green aura accenting it made it fly up in rage. Her eyes locked onto Cell and didn't waste any time where she could be kicking his asterisk S, leaving a crater at her mark. The rest of the rocks from the previous pillar decimated and turned to dust. Let's get started then. She was just another cockroach from the nest of Science. Even though her power was destructive in nature, Cell naturally didn't feel worried. Upon arrival, the fist that was going to punch him in the gut was easily dodged with Cell's incredible movement. Not so bad, just as much strength as the one before. There was no coordination from her attacks, as she just tried to punch Cell in that disgusting face. When he smirked along with his dodges, that made Kale even angrier, and her power increased, directly influencing her speed. I need to end this quick. So with that thought, he packed his full punch and smacked Kale right in the cheekbone. He only used about 60% of his power to knock out Caulifla, so surely this muscle freak couldn't withstand his full power. What he feeling was a victory, it was resistance. Kale slowly and forcibly moved her head back to look at the bug who dared punched her. Not thinking about any technique or tactics, she just blindly punched back. Cell barely dodged in the direction of where his fist was and stumbled upon his steps. Luckily, Kale couldn't capitalize on it because she used her full power and more on that punch. When that punch hit the ground due to overexertion, it buried itself and the ground started to crack vertically. The earth shook and everyone has only felt the calm before the storm. Whoosh. The door of the hyperbolic time chamber opened, revealing two little silhouettes of children. Gohan and Bulla ran outside ready to tackle whoever was on the other side. But strangely, no one was there to greet their arrival. Where is everybody? Goku came right after them and also noticed something strange. What he noticed wasn't that there wasn't anyone to greet them, but there were no distinguishable key signatures on the hideout. So he expanded his senses to see where they had gone and discovered that there were 3 signatures, but they were very weak. Feeling strange, he expanded it any more and caught something that alerted him. Destruction-like key, unique to only one. What is happening? He decided he needed to get there as fast as he can and understand what was happening. His best wishes were that Kale was trying to control it for practice, but considering the massive amount of ki being thrown around, he wouldn't bet on it. Kids, do you feel that? I need to go right now. Go and find the Namekians and see what they know. Just as he was about to go and defuse the situation, another bomb just had to show up. Literally, of course. You need not go anywhere, Son Goku. I am here to eliminate you. Walking into the hallway was a tall man with black tights and green armor. Where the heart is supposed to be, the color shading of that green was lighter than the rest, indicating a cover of something. Android. As expected of you, very perceptive. Yes, I go by Android 16, and by my orders, I will destroy you. Wait, is that Uncle Piccolo? Goku didn't notice Android 16 was dragging Piccolo by the cape this entire time. His side profile was all he saw while Gohan and Bulla were flying around, so they had a better angle. Now that he looked closer, Android 16 had burnt marks and dust on his outfit, showing all the damage Piccolo had done. I don't have time for this. Something way more important is happening right now. Surely you feel it, the potential end to this universe. Such a grandiose statement invoked no emotion from the robot, as he just stared at him. Aggravated from the situation, Goku put his fingers on his forehead to teleport away, grabbing the children as well. Such tricks wouldn't go unnoticed by 16, as his eyes widened and a fist was flying towards Goku. He had to release the technique before locking into any ki to block the attack. But Gohan jerked his hand away from Goku's grip, turned Super Saiyan, and deflected the fist. Gohan! The fist went haywire before it went back to 16's arm. 16 released Piccolo and started to get into a position to fight Goku. Bulla understood what to do and turned Super Saiyan, as well flying beside her brother. Dad, let Gohan and I take care of this tin, while you take care of whatever you need to do. He needs to pay for what he did to Uncle Piccolo anyways, so let me smash his face. The two Saiyans then, in a swirl pattern, flew towards the android together, with the usual Saiyan excitement in their eyes. The hit only made her angrier, and the angrier she got, the more powerful she was. Before, Cell managed to dodge and occasionally attack safely, but now, his best option was trading blows with his opponent. And negative trades they were when most of the time, just one fist coated with ki would blow his arm away. Kamehameha. This was the first time anyone besides Goku witnessed a copy of one of their techniques, and they were shook at the potential. Kale, however, in her wrath state, didn't even blink at the ki blast and put up her hand to defend. Coated with ki, the Kamehameha was being deflected by the hand, and she slowly walked up to him. Power resonated with every step, and it just kept increasing as the fight went on. I will become the strongest in the universe. How could this preposterous monkey beat me? 21, help me. You need me. 21. Cell unconsciously called her 21 instead of Master, and she didn't miss it. But he was right. She did need him. However, everyone, including the androids, was confused. Yes, she was an android from the account of others' mouths, but how strong can she be? If Cell is struggling, then even if she had decent firepower, it wouldn't make a dent on the ever-increasing wrathful Scion. A pink aura started to form around her, the first sign of her with any battle knowledge despite being a scientist. It circled around her, and soon, there was a mix of purple as well. Slowly, her skin started to turn pink, and her long brown hair started to sway white. Her eyes became corrupted with black, and her eyes turned a blood shade of red. Transformation complete, she took off her glasses in a brisk fashion and stored them in her case. Along with her lab coat and shirt, she stored them all in a capsule and pocketed it. All she was left with was a black bra that was super tight to hold the puppies and her tights that she normally wore. I love transforming. This form makes me feel so free. She licked her lips quite sultry-like and looked at Kale as if he was looking at a toy. In fact, her nether regions were already getting soaked from the thought of playing with this girl. You look so tasty. I can't wait to play with you.